Any Miles Mack Buckeyes in the crowd? Well, that's probably typical. I probably shouldn't tell you this at the start, but I wanted to commend you on being here, first of all. I am a Miles MacDonnell graduate back in about 1970. They probably had these career symposiums back when I was in school, but I was one of the ones that would have been vacant or not here, to be quite honest with you. So in hindsight, probably not the best decision. I've been quite fortunate in terms of my career path and the job that I'm doing now, but it really wasn't by any grand design. And I think the very fact that you're here taking part in this symposium speaks volumes about at least starting to think about what it is you might like to do as a career. And now that I'm in the sort of tail end of mine, I turned 55 a couple of weeks ago. For the teachers and adults in the room, I don't feel any freer now that I'm 55. And so the younger people may not understand what that means, but we were told that freedom 55, you can retire and get on with fishing and all those other things that I like to do. But so you're going to be at this for a while. Once you get into a career mode, you'll probably change your career 4 or 5, maybe even 7 times. And that's not unusual according to the literature. So again, I thank you for being here. I hope you find this educational, informative, and helping you start to at least think about what it is you might like to do beyond high school. And it is an important decision that you'll be making in the next coming years. So my first question to you is, just by show of hands, how many people are here because of the career as an athlete portion of the title? Okay, it's not too bad. How many are here for the careers in sport aspect of the title? And how about a bit of both? Okay. I just want to get a sense of what you're trying to get from this session, and I'll try and get to all of that. And what they've asked us to do today as well is try and explain a bit about a day in the life in terms of the job we do and the types of circumstances, the culture of the environment that we work in. So I'll get to that as well. You've already heard a bit about me. I just want to review this, and this isn't to pump my chest or to be egotistical, but I do want to provide some context for what I will speak about in the next 15 or 20 minutes. Guys, if you want to join us up front here, there's seats, as long as you don't heckle. Although if you're up front, I can get to you easier, so I don't mind that. Much like many of you in this room, I'm sure, through high school and junior high, a multi-sport athlete. I was a hockey lacrosse guy. How I fell into volleyball with this body type is still beyond me, to be honest, but Miles Mack was a volleyball school, so I ended up playing and quite enjoyed the game. I graduated from high school, went on to the University of Manitoba, finished up a Bachelor of Physical Education. I actually taught school for a little bit, but fell out of the teaching business by chance. I did live and play in Europe, and I want to speak to that in terms of an athletic career, that there are opportunities as athletes to play soccer, basketball, hockey, volleyball in Europe. I had the opportunity and was very fortunate to do that for a couple of years, as you already heard. The rest you've heard about. And my current situation now is I'm the president and general manager of the Canadian Sports Centre Manitoba. And very quickly, so you understand what that is, there's 7 sports centers located across the country. We are largely responsible for putting more Manitobans on the Olympic and Paralympic podium. So you can imagine we are quite busy right now getting ready for London 2012, right? The games open on July 27th. We have a number of Manitoba athletes that are in the final stages of trying to qualify to represent Canada at those Olympic or Paralympic Games. And some of those athletes would have been at it for 8, 10, 12 years trying to achieve that Olympic dream, which I would hope that there's some people in this room that aspire to doing exactly that. And that's what our job is, to help those Manitobans that aspire. They have some of the abilities, the desire, the will, etc., to represent our province and country at an Olympic or a Paralympic Games. And I'll speak more about the job in terms of the day and the life of towards the end. Is there a remote for these, do you know, or should I have my own? What I'd like to do to start, and I asked the question about how many of you here for the athlete piece, and this may not be the right approach, and I may have to change this for tomorrow's session, but I did want to give you a bit of a reality check about the opportunities that do exist as a professional athlete. Okay, there's a huge buzz in this community right now, of course, with our hockey team being back and the success of the Jets. Yes, they didn't make the playoffs, but I would suggest to you it's been an incredible year. So what I've done very quickly is just to give you a sense of the sport and or the league, what the average salary is, the minimum salary, the maximum salary, and the average length of a career in those particular leagues, just to give you a bit of an idea. And I'm not trying to burst your bubble or turn you off from the notion of pursuing this. Please don't get me wrong, but I think it's important you understand what the opportunities are. So in the NHL, the average salary is about $2.4 million. Minimum's about $500,000. Maximum, I think, is 8 or 9 right now. I don't know if that's accurate. It may be a little bit more for a Malkin, if you understand or know the NHL. The big thing, I think, to realize that the average length of stay in the NHL is 2 to 3 years. So if you take those numbers and you come in at a minimum salary of $500,000 and you get a 3-year career, that's $1.5 million, I think, is the quick math, which sounds nice, and it's certainly nothing to sneeze at. But at that point, you're probably 27 or 28 years of age. That $1.5 million is probably not going to carry you for the rest of your life, so you're going to have to find something else to do. So there is a harsh reality about that particular league that people need to be aware of. The one that I cut off here, it says that 50% of the players play less than 100 games in the NHL, which is about a season and a quarter, maybe, 82-game season. So that's a pretty staggering number. Of all the people, and I was one of them, as I said, I grew up playing hockey and played right up until university, and at some point thought maybe I could play. And I'm sure there's people in this room that feel the same way. And again, I'm not trying to sour your dreams or dash your dreams, but there are some realities here about the ability to make it and make a long-term career and a living from that particular game. CFL, if you're into the football area, it's about $45,000 minimum salary. Most CFL players have another job anyway during the course of the year. Minimum salary is about $41,000. Maximum for one player, this is right off the internet. And if somebody can tell me what's wrong with this, it's Ricky Ray. Anybody know what he does? Position? And did you know that he plays for the Winnipeg Eskimos? Apparently, if you go to the internet and check it, it says Ricky Ray of the Winnipeg Eskimos makes $500,000. But the upper end players are probably about $200,000, $250,000 a year in terms of the marquee players on each of the CFL teams. Again, the other one to really notice, though, is about 3.19 years is the career of an average career of a CFL level player. So you can run the math on that and see that really the numbers don't add up in terms of playing in the CFL and retiring comfortably and being freedom at 28 as opposed to 55 in my case. NFL, if you're really, really good, average salary is about $1 million, minimum's $3.25, maximum's $18 million. Yeah. Anybody know who that is? Yeah, well, that may have changed now with the new signing. This is Tom Brady, actually, quarterback, but that may have changed with the recent signing of, is it Eli or Peyton? Which one? Peyton. And again, the key thing here is 4 to 6 seasons, injuries, all that sort of thing catch up to you. Younger players catch up to you. So again, it's not a long career. Soccer, you can play in Europe. Very good money over there. The nice part about this one, if you can get on with the Division I teams, is you can extend your playing career by double, triple of some of the other sports. Average salary is about $2.5 million. Soccer in Europe, of course, is our hockey. It's very, very big. The Major League Soccer program in the States, the average salary is about $90,000 in 5 to 6 years. And I did put volleyball in because, as I said, that's a context I'm quite familiar with, and I'm still living that today with friends and other people we work with playing there. Average salary is probably about $15,000. Minimum's about $5,000. And the very, very good players, and we have one from Canada playing in the first division in Italy right now, is probably making $200,000, $250,000, which is exceptional, but also a rarity for Canadian players. Again, the key thing to note, though, is the career span is about 2 to 3 years. Okay? So again, not to throw you off your dreams or dash those, but I think it's important to understand that the opportunities are quite limited. Now, if you can make it to that level, and having played in Europe, it's an absolutely fabulous experience. I played in Amsterdam, and I played in Italy, learned Italian and all the cultural activities within Italy. It's an absolutely amazing experience, and I, again, strongly recommend, if you have those desires, to pursue that to your fullest and see where it takes you. The process in terms of getting there oftentimes is as valuable as the end result. So just wanted to give you a sense of what may be out there in terms of the career as an athlete piece. Now, if you pursue that path and you go down that process and for whatever reason it doesn't work out in terms of a career possibility, as I said, there's nothing wrong with pursuing it, and quite frankly, there's a great deal of value in pursuing or the process of getting there. If you don't happen to make it, and the 3 to 5% represents roughly the athletes that do make it to that level and can make it a career of playing sport, their chosen sport, which again is not particularly high. There are other positions and other careers in sport that are very fulfilling and worthwhile, and that's really what I wanted to get at today with you. I'm in the sport administration, sport management business. There's organizations that are not-for-profit, and there's pro-sport opportunities. Anybody have an example of what a not-for-profit amateur sport group might be that you would be familiar with? Anybody here on provincial teams or played in provincial championships, played high school sports? Right? So the Manitoba High Schools Athletic Association, that's responsible for putting on your high school championships, would be an example of a not-for-profit sport group that has job opportunities and career opportunities within their organization. Manitoba Volleyball Association, Manitoba Basketball Association, Hockey Association, ringette, curling. There's about 70 of them located here in the city, with job opportunities to work within your sport or a sport of, that may not be your primary sport, but just the fact that you're working in sport on a day-to-day basis. So for those of you that have played in a provincial championship or high school championship, what types of activities do you think these organizations would be doing? The type of work you might be doing should you try go down this path and work for one of these organizations. What types of things would they be doing? Anybody? Oh, go ahead. Coaching, absolutely. You're going to see that as a career opportunity down the way. What about the bottom one? Sport is regulated by, like them or not, but referees. Any referees in the room? I should have checked first. Okay, they organize all the officials, the tournament schedules, the gymnasiums, the ice rinks, the swimming pools, all the facilities. They organize the playoff rounds and the scheduling of all the games and the media awareness of your event. Those are some of the activities involved in this type of work. And I did work for one of those organizations, Manitoba Volleyball Association. So I've done this work firsthand, and that's the types of things you get to do. You're running tournaments, and you're in the gym or on the pool deck or on the soccer pitch or in the hockey rink. And again, if that's the type of stuff you enjoy now, this is a pretty decent career path for you. And again, I can tell you firsthand, when I did this when I was first part of my career journey, was highly enjoyable. I still wasn't able to compete anymore or wasn't competing, but it still allowed me to be around sport in a very meaningful or significant way. So it's a highly enjoyable career. Something that's really taking off, and this is really, the next two is the core of what we do at the Canadian Sports Centre, is sports science and sport medicine. So when I refer to sports science, what might that be? What types of activities or services? Therapy, athletic therapy, physical therapy. Good. Anything else? What type of trainers? Yeah, so athletic, physical therapists, exactly. Anybody else? Come on. Biomechanics. Ooh, okay, that's a good one. Where'd that come from? Good pull. I wouldn't have guessed that somebody got that one. Biomechanics, everybody know what that is? It's the analysis of your movement when you're performing a particular skill, a slap shot, a layup, a ringette shot, a curling shot. It's the analysis of how you perform that skill and what the joint angles look like and the muscle movements. Very, very critical in high-performance sport for sure. We have 2 fully certified biomechanists that work for us at the Canadian Sports Centre. The 2 biggest ones that seem to be missed so far, what are they? Injuries, that's back to the therapy and sport medicine. So sport doctors, chiropractors, athletic therapists, physical therapists. Those are all involved in getting us back and healthy again. What are the other 2? Nutrition, absolutely. We have a full-time sport nutritionist on staff that works with all the athletes and helps them with their meal planning, with hydration. We have athletes traveling all over the world to compete against the world's best. A big problem for them is jet lag. One young athlete left here in January to go compete in Chile. In South America, was a 24-hour plane ride. So they helped them with hydration and what to do while they're on the plane, what types of things to eat when they're in the airport in Minneapolis and Los Angeles and wherever else they were. Huge part of sport, certainly at the high performance level. 2 big ones. I shouldn't do this because there's nothing there, but weight training, absolutely. Absolutely critical. Strength and conditioning, physical preparation. We have 2 full-time people and about 12 others that we work with on a regular basis, but absolutely critical to sport performance. And the other one is, sorry? Cardio, that's part of the physical preparation, absolutely. What about here up? Psychology, mental training, sports psychology, absolutely essential. So there's all types of careers, and my point here is there's lots and lots, or more of these coming online now. Canada's finally got its head around the fact that if we want our athletes to perform as they did in Vancouver, and hopefully as they'll do in London, and then in Sochi, Russia, et cetera, we have to have expert personnel working in these areas. So lots of job opportunities coming in the future. We have 9 people working for us now. When I started, there was 2. So I've been able to hire 7 people since I started to work in this various areas to help the athletes of Manitoba achieve their Olympic and Paralympic dream. Sports medicine we talked about. Coaching opportunities. How many in this room have benefited from the expertise of a coach, whether in a school-based program or a club? Right? Good experience, I would hope. I won't ask if there's any bad ones, but coaching opportunities, again, there's not an abundance of them, but again, Canada's getting its head around the fact that we have to have good quality coaches working with our athletes if we want them to be successful at any level. So there are coaching opportunities at the university level. Certain sports like swimming and gymnastics hire coaches at a much earlier point in an athlete's career, so there are some paid opportunities and career opportunities in coaching. And again, if you enjoy working with young people, or maybe you're not quite certain at this point because you are the young people, but if you enjoy that, there are some opportunities and coaching education programs that will help you along that path. The one you should be aware of if you're not already is called the National Coaching Certification Program. Has anybody heard of that at all? Okay, so what grades, 7 to 12, any 7 to 9s and 10s, 8s here? Okay, so a little bit young yet, but that's something if you go down this path, you'll become very familiar with later. We talked about officiating a little bit as another career opportunity. We have a number of Manitobans going to the Olympic Games as technical officials, a couple of which are making a career of it, but you can do that on a part-time basis to supplement your income, but we have some top quality officials that are making their way to London in a couple of months' time as well. Other career opportunities are retail and sporting goods. Sport facility management. Finally, in this province, we're getting some facilities now that will help these athletes train and provide them the opportunities they need. Had enough, guys? Looks like the athlete's leaving the room. I think I turned them off already. There's event management opportunities. I happened to work on the Pan Am Games in 1999 for 3.5 years, but there's other opportunities in events, World Hockey Championships, curling events. I've got a couple of friends that work in this line of work, and it's a very high-energy, high-paced area, but also very, very exciting. So if you're into putting on events and drawing people and attention to your events and media attention, there's more and more opportunities coming up in this area as well, which is quite exciting. Sports broadcasting and teaching and research. Again, we're getting into research in a big way now, too, about how athletes perform. What things can we do differently to help our athletes gain an advantage over the rest of the world? And sports broadcasting now, with the Jets returning to this community, you've seen a huge increase in this area. And I think there's another presentation on careers in radio that's going on as well, so you'll probably hear more about that. But increased opportunities in those areas as well. So in addition to all the athlete possibilities, if that doesn't pan out for you, or if you've done that and you're at the end of your athletic career and you still want to morph into something within sport, there's a number of opportunities and ways you can do that. Some of the potential employers, there's national sport organizations that are based largely out of Eastern Canada, so the Canadian Hockey Association, Canadian Basketball, Canadian Volleyball, etc. We have the provincial counterparts here. They're housed at Sport Manitoba, which is a new building on Pacific Avenue just in the downtown area. Again, there's probably 200 plus people working in that building, working in the sport area. So if you have any interest at all in sport administration and sport management, check out Sport Manitoba on the web, and you'll find out a little bit more about what they do as an organization. But lots of job possibilities there as well. Universities have athletic departments. University of Winnipeg Westman, Brandon Bobcats, U of M Bisons. They also have people working in a number of different capacities in support of those athletes that are representing the various universities. And the community colleges have come back online in recent years too, with Assiniboine College, Canadian Mennonite University, Providence, Red River, etc. So those programs have been revamped and restarted now, and that's created some other job opportunities to support those athletes as they represent their various educational institutions. Federal and provincial governments. I used to work for the provincial government in the sport branch, so there are job opportunities there as well. The federal government has about 100+ person division that looks after sport in this country, so again, there's opportunities there. Sport facilities, as I talked about, they have to have people to operate and man and program and schedule for those facilities. And then there's a number of sport medicine clinics in the city that have job opportunities at a number of different levels as well, from doctors to physiotherapists, athletics therapists, chiropractic people, etc. School system, as I talked about, Manitoba High Schools Athletic Association. Pro sport franchises, again, the Bombers, Jets, Goldeyes. Team Canada Volleyball is based here, the women's national team. I happen to share an office with those people, but they've got 5 or 6 individuals that work on behalf of Team Canada Women, volleyball helping them or trying to help them qualify for London, and they'll be leaving for Mexico in about 2 weeks to try and qualify as a representative to the Olympic Games. And personal trainers we talked about a bit as well. There's lots of opportunities now for personal trainers to work, as we talked about the physical preparation, and some of it's for sport reasons, some of it's for weight loss, some of it's just to live a healthier lifestyle. But lots of opportunities in the personal training area and lots of programs and education and courses for people to acquire the knowledge that they need to do that job as well. Okay, what I'd like to do is ask a number of questions of us in terms of describing what a day in the life of our job looks like. So I think we've talked about the career and education and career path. The job in terms of the one that I do now, a typical day for me is if I am dragging myself into work, which is unusual, but for me when I walk in, I have athletes that are waiting for us saying, essentially, what are you going to do for me today? And we've got athletes, as I said, that have been at this for 6, 8, 10, 12 years. So 6 years ago, we started with a group of athletes that aspired to getting to London. So for the past 6 years, the question on almost a daily basis is, how are you going to help me today? What can you do to help me achieve my Olympic dream? How are you going to be a partner in me achieving that? And again, that's helping them with the services, the sports psychology, the physical preparation, the nutrition. Some of it's personal counseling. Some of it's career planning, the same stuff you're going through now, because if the athlete steps up to the pool deck or the start line thinking, this is my last race and I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm finished after racing for 3 seconds or whatever, that's not a very healthy state of mind to be in when you're stepping up against the best in the world. So we do a lot of that with education and courses and conversations not unlike what we're trying to have right now in terms of what they might do when their athletic career is over. The other big thing about athletes, of course, is they get injured. So if they get injured and now they can't compete anymore, what do I do next? So that's a lot of what we do on a daily basis. So it's very, very gratifying. It's exciting work. These athletes come in and they're wide-eyed and they say they have this Olympic or Paralympic dream in mind, and we're there to help them as best we can. Every day is different, and that's the other exciting piece about this work. So if you're not interested in something, it's 9 to 5, Monday to Friday at your desk. This line of work can be very, very exciting and very, very fulfilling. Everything's different. Every day there's a different challenge, a different issue, a different success, a different celebration that we can have as an organization. So it's a heck of a lot of fun. The whole day spent work with other people, whether it's colleagues, athletes, that's what we do. It's a people business. I would suggest to you, if you're interested in money and chasing the dollar, this probably isn't the career path. But if you enjoy working with people and want a comfortable living and something that you're going to enjoy doing for 10, 15, 20 years, this area is a pretty exciting place to be. Education, as I said, I went through a Bachelor of Phys Ed at the University of Manitoba. You don't need a bachelor's degree necessarily, depending on what type of work, but if you want to get into the research, the strength and conditioning, the sports psychology requires at least an undergraduate degree and probably a master's degree. We have 2 PhDs, which is the upper end of education, that are working for us as well. I chose this because I enjoy sport. It's been doing it my whole life. It allows me to stay in sport. It gave me an opportunity to continue in sport when my career was finished. I could no longer compete. Instead of going something completely outside, it gave me an opportunity to stay in sport, to be around athletes and coaches. And I'm very fortunate in terms of where I work, because we're around the athletes that are at the high end of the sport continuum. As I said, these are the athletes that are trying to represent our province and country in international sport, and it's hugely exciting. The changes we've seen is more and more people working in the area, which should be good news for you, even though you're a few years away from starting out on that path. Hopefully that trend continues, that the funding and the money that's being invested in sport will continue, but the job opportunities have increased immensely. As I said, when I started, there was 2 or 3 sports scientists working with me. We now have 9. So I think the biggest single thing I've seen is a real commitment to this area and supporting Canadian athletes as they go after that Olympic medal. I had other experiences and occupations that you've seen already. The one I would point out is the volunteer that Ava's doing as well, but if you haven't heard this already, you probably will, but volunteer experiences for you will be huge in terms of your job opportunities. I do interview for positions, and I can tell you firsthand that that is an important factor from my perspective. So if you're doing some of that already, good on you. If you're not, I'd suggest you look at what opportunities might present themselves. I think they spoke of some here at the opening of this session. But try and do some of that work. I know it's not that enticing in terms of not making money from it, but they are valuable experiences that will help you later on for sure. Opportunities for positions or advancements we've talked about. It's really for us in terms of the work we do is that sports science and sport medicine and helping athletes achieve international or national team success here in Canada. Ava, how am I doing for, I didn't see the, did I miss the yellow sign? Oh, okay. The skills and qualities that I possess, I think the reason I showed you all that stuff up front was really, as I said, not to beat my chest or be too conceited about it. It's just that I have a broad background in terms of having had the chance to participate as an athlete. I've worked in sport admin. I've coached at the Canada Games level, which is a very significant competition here in Canada. So I think just the breadth of the experience, I understand what the athletes are going through. And it's oftentimes done in obscurity. Nobody hears about the athlete that's in the weight room 4 or 5 times a week for a couple hours, or in the pool at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then going back for another training session in the afternoon. So I think I can understand what it is they're going through and really appreciate what they're doing, and in that way, I'm very, very motivated to help them as best I can. I'd like to think we have a vision of what Manitoba can be in terms of athlete performance. We're not there yet, and this may impact on some of you people in this very room at this point in time because of where you are in your athletic career, but we're really trying to create a culture of excellence or an environment of excellence in this province in terms of athletic performance. And I would suggest to you again that professional franchises here have gone a long way to assist us in that. There's a different feeling in this community, would be my sense right now, and I think it's a good one. That's very exciting for us. Working conditions, as I said, salary scale is, if you're after the money and if that's what's important to you, this may not be the best place for you, but the working conditions are outstanding, the people are excellent. It's usually fairly laid back in terms of dress and time and all that. It's not a 9-to-5 job. So again, if that's what you're looking for, this probably isn't the place. This is odd hours, weekends, but you're compensated usually in the form of time off, so it ends up working itself out. But one of the reasons I left teaching, to be honest, was that structured nature of teaching. You're there at 9 o'clock in the morning and you're there till 3:30, 4, 5, or whatever. And when your class comes in at 9:05, you need to be there. And I just found that hard to deal with. In this particular job, it's quite flexible. So I may not go back to the office this afternoon until 3 because I was doing something last night or the night before, and I quite like that. I don't know if I mentioned, but I have 3 teenage daughters at home as well, and they've got busy schedules and things that I'd like to participate in with their activities, and this job allows me to do that and still get all my work done. So that's a very appealing part of the job for me. And as I said, the other big appealing part is the people, both the clients, the athletes that we get to work with, plus the colleagues, the people I'm surrounded by. And we're all committed to that same dream and have a very strong passion for helping these athletes achieve their Olympic dream. And take a great degree of satisfaction when those athletes are successful and know that in some way, big or small, we've contributed to that performance. There is travel. Again, because of the work we do, a number of our staff, 3 were just down in Las Vegas, 1 was just in Germany. We have 2 or 3 going to London. I will be at the Olympic Games in London, so there is a lot of travel both within the country, but because it is international sport, we do get to travel around the world a bit. I had an opportunity to go to Paris in August, September, which was quite exciting. So lots of opportunities for travel. Yes, there's work on evenings and weekends. There are some mundane duties, the ones that aren't a heck of a lot of fun, I won't lie to you. There are some of that, filing, typing, and all that kind of stuff. I think that's probably true of most jobs, unless you have the a good fortune of having somebody else do that for you. But we do not have administrative staff, so we do a lot of that stuff ourselves, and that's just an understood part of the job. You know, I'm looking at the last bullet, and I really can't think of something that I dislike, to be honest. And I think in terms of timing, that might be a good place to stop. Or right now is that, you know, my thought to you would be as you're going down this path is find something that you're passionate about, that you really, really enjoy, because it will be a long period of time for most of us. And if you don't enjoy, and I've seen a lot of people, friends, neighbors, that do not enjoy their work, and it's just not a good way or not to live your life, if I can preach a little bit. But if I reflect back 30 years and put myself in your seat, that's the advice or the notion I'd like to leave with you, is find something that you really, really enjoy, you get excited about. Yes, you will have down days where it's not all going to be excitement and celebration, etc., but find something that you really enjoy, that you're passionate about, and you can put your whole heart and your energy into, and you'll do just fine.